of how we got to that point. But yeah, don't just cut and paste something out of that package. All right, keep going. This cut pasted too. Y'all, come on now. Y'all are the brilliant group. Background. If you can talk about the IGE and how you developed it in the background, that's not a problem. I wouldn't go into all this detail on that. I would just put background. We used to buy it ourselves, and then the up-tempo, and now we're faced with buying it. And I did some market research. I found out there were this many in the area. I did an IGE. I did it by looking at, this could even come into play on the pricing part where you show how you came up with $21.75. All right, go to the next slide. Okay, the type of contract, that's going to be, this was straight out of the package. This type of contract type, that'll go under strategy. See, you're briefing these people that are showing up. They just need to know a little bit about what they're hearing about, not a detailed background on every little thing. How you came up with the IGE numbers, that's a pricing thing, probably. You could show that, how that $21.75 was developed during the pricing section as you're explaining the IGE. So that would be better served over in a different area. That's good information. All right, keep going. Okay, this is interesting. I like this. Okay, to get the 5-year total, you could have either used Waters and Walters. Y'all still with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my computer, I lost power, so I thought I lost you. Okay, how did you come up with $3,458,000 for 5 years?
That was the total of all the 5 years combined, ma'am.
Without escalation?
Correct.
Okay, that's okay as long as you never bring up that Waters and Walters not escalating is a risk or unusual, because you are now saying that's how the government is coming up with their expected value, is to take an IGE and not inflate it. You see what I mean?
Right, yeah, we'll have to relook at that because we did bring that up as unusual.
See, I like the fact that you took an IGE and put 4 years with it. There are students that don't even get that is a 1-year IGE. So kudos for that. But see, it's what you've done here is what we're accusing them of doing that's supposedly causing us angst. So you can't talk that, oh my God, they're not inflating, yet we didn't either. When we looked at what it should cost. So it's okay if you took $691 and escalated it at the percentage that the price indices tells you it's happening in the past. So that number neither needs to shift up or just show the contract value for 1 year.
Right, yeah, I think that's I think shifting upward would definitely support.
Yeah, I do too.
Our end game here.
Yeah, whichever way you want to explain it.
Yes, ma'am.
You see what I mean? That would get you caught in a trap, and I'd be like, how can you question them when you just did the same thing? adjust it either way you want to. You just won't get caught in a trap on that one.
Dragon.
All right, next.
So this is the one we were going to have a discussion about, man. I was the one that asked about the minimum maximum today. So what we're thinking about doing is we've done quite a bit of homework on Scott Air Force Base. We know there's about 12 to 13,000 airmen there, including active duty, guard reserve, and our federal civilian employees that work on the base. And we know in the purchase request that it says that this request is coming in because the clinic is not able to focus on their primary mission as far as acute care goes for, as well as deployments that have been upcoming. So we know 148 is our target number here for the pre-employment. And after talking to my colleagues here in the group, we figured that we could give you those statistics on who's there, why the purchase request is coming in, and we would like to do 25% below this 148 for our minimum.
Perfect.
To give us flexibility to save money where we can when we have the ability on our side, and then 25% above, and to give us the ability to scale that up.
That's perfect. Next. That's perfect. Next. That's a good slide. Keep going. Okay. Okay, we don't need to know who makes up the source selection team. And let me go down to, you said that we're going to pick best value, lowest price, technically acceptable. So the next bullet should say, what is the evaluation criteria then if we're doing the lowest price, technically acceptable? Now go back one. So evaluation criteria means what is the criteria we're picking a winner on? So what is the criteria for LPTA? There's two.
Right, they have to be the lowest, they have to be technically acceptable first.
Yep.
And then the lowest price.
That's it. That's your evaluation criteria. You don't need to put the source selection team. That might have been on that straw man slide, but you can just go ahead and get rid of that.
Yes, ma'am.
See, that slide will look so much better because that source selection thing's out. It'll say source selection process, best value, and under that is LPTA. And what does that mean? Technically acceptable, yes, no, met, did not meet. 2, lowest price. That's it. Next. Alright, now, this is how they're going to catch you again. See that ranking pursuant to proposal analysis? What are our 2 criteria? Technically acceptable, lowest price.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's going on here with the past performance, higher price, no performance data?
Yes, ma'am. We were just trying to rank these guys, basically Vista over Pleasant Prairie, but I understand what you're saying.
No, that's the teaching point. That's why I'm glad y'all put this. Do you know the last group didn't even put anything about past performance? See, this exercise tried to get you looking at, oh my God, one of them doesn't even have past performance. What are we going to do? Well, LPTA doesn't pull out past performance specifically. It was probably looked at. But when a contractor doesn't have past performance data, is that a negative a positive, a neutral?
I think it's a neutral.
We're looking at it.
It doesn't want to be neutral.
It's a neutral. That was the teaching point. We don't pull out past performance specifically and say, okay, we're going to let Waters and Walters didn't even have any past performance. It didn't even show that they had any contracts. Now, we're going to find out pretty quickly that they do. But we're not looking at past performance specifically as an element to pick a winner on. So you want to take that stuff out because it probably was looked at when they were trying to decide if these vendors were technically acceptable or not. You know, if they didn't have any performance data, that's a high risk. But nonetheless, somebody in the government has already done a technical analysis and said, okay, Waters and Walters they're in. Vista's in. Pleasant Prairie is in. The rest is all crying. The only thing you can do now is look at price. And if there's something iffy there, then you can question them about that.
Man, thanks for clarifying that, because I made this slide, and when I was looking at the source selection team slide, it said that they would take into consideration past performance, but it didn't say when in the process they did. So
yes.
What you said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they're tricking you. It's a trick. It's a trick because good students took the road that you took, and they read it, okay? You'd be surprised what I see on this end. When I get frustrated, you have no idea. So, smart students, they go investigate it, and they're confused, and they ask me, and then I clarify. Most students have not even brought up past performance, but it's all over this case. They keep throwing up, this class had, this vendor had past performance, this one didn't. Okay, how does that play in? Well, it obviously played in, or they wouldn't be talking about it. But they probably looked at that when they made their initial determination on whether or not they're technically acceptable or not. So that's how you would explain that. So on this one, when you put rankings, I would just put Waters and Walters, lowest price, then whoever, next lowest, and then the last one. All right, next.
And this slide is just to show a visualization of how Waters stays the same over base plus 4, and the other two gradually, and then we can pinpoint the exact prices that they change. But
Are you able to flip that chart though upright? Is it possible in the program you use to kind of flip it so it looks like building stair stepping as opposed to the left to right?
It is, maybe it doesn't fit as well in the slide.
Oh, okay. Then it's good. You're showing the point. That's fine. Next. Ooh, I love this slide. Next. I'll go back, though, before I say that. Okay, that's good. Next. Okay. Now, wait a minute. Go back. Waters will run on it. Now, how in the world can y'all say that Waters and Walters exceeded the IGE when y'all's IGE didn't escalate either?
We said they remained under the IGE value.
Oh, Pleasant Prairie and Vista both began exceeding the IGE.
Yes, ma'am. But that's something we got to tighten up.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, yeah, go back and look at that one. Okay, next.
So this slide is going to generate the conversation. I think, ma'am, is a couple questions that we wanted to ask. How is Waters and Walters able to maintain their pricing point and not follow that price index like our other proposals did? When you look at the chart, you look at the numbers, you crunch them on every which way. It doesn't really make any sense.
I'm going to give you the answer. How about that?
Figured you would.
I'm not even going to make you have conversation after what I put y'all through. Okay, here's what the deal is. This could happen. You get 3 vendors, one doesn't escalate. That's very unusual. Very, very unusual for 5 years. So it doesn't mean, though, that they're coming in such a low price that they can't do the job. But you need to ask them, how can you do it without escalating? And then they're going to balk, and you're going to say, you have to give me some kind of data to make me feel better about this for me to award it to you. And then they're going to provide invoices that show that they're currently working on 2 contracts for the city government, in which case they're charging the exact same price for their exams as they showed that they were going to charge for the next 5 years. Now, that does not prove that they're not going to fail, but it shows that they're a small business currently working on city contracts. I mean, if a company already had 2 city contracts, that past performance is stellar. I mean, that's pretty good. So that would be enough that you would have to show them, you would have to award to them and take on that risk. Because they can never show for sure that they can do it in the future. But this company may have so much work going on that they're recognizing economies of scale. They've leaned down. They're able to charge a per unit price cheaper than the others. They're absorbing that, maybe not recognizing as much profit as the others. But you would have to actually go back and ask them, in which y'all did. You came and asked me that question. And I'm telling you that I'm going to provide this invoice, and you can talk it in your briefing on Thursday, or you can show it. And that's going to be enough to cover your concerns on that flat pricing strategy.
Tracking that.
Isn't that nice that y'all don't have to discuss that again with each other?
That is nice.
Okay, what else?
That's it. That's our last slide. And it just simply states that we're recommending Waters and Walters to be awarded this contract. And what you're going to provide us will definitely help us in our justification of that.
Oh yeah, that's all you need. It's all you need. You don't have to analyze it or question it. There's no trick in that. It's just that you did the analysis. You realized you went from 5 to 3. You compared them against each other, and in the midst of all this, you recognized, they're not inflating. So they were the lowest price technically acceptable. You showed it against the index. You showed it against the IGE. Now we just need to know that we believe they can do it before we award to them. And that invoice is what's going to cover you down. And y'all, besides the cutting and pasting, shame on you, go back and kind of put that in your own little deal, and you're good to go. Just practice briefing it, and you're excellent.
Tracking all, man. Appreciate your time.
All right, y'all, good luck. Don't be mad at me tomorrow. I'm going to try to get in there and give you as much as I can on that test, because some of these problems are just like, oh my God. So I'll do what I can to help help you, and I'm sorry I offered the early test taking today. I just thought that would kind of solve a lot of problems, and we'd be free on that one tomorrow. But if y'all need anything tonight, I've got 2 more groups, and then I got to go to this church thing. I don't have to, but I'm doing it, and so I'll be tied up from like 5:45 to 8 o'clock, and then I'm free. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it.
I will talk to y'all a little bit later if you need me.
Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye.